Let's be honest, most financial advice on the internet is just exhausting. It's usually some rich guy telling you to stop buying iced coffee as if your caffeine habit is the literal only reason you aren't a millionaire. But let's be real here. Skipping a $5 latte isn't going to magically buy you a house. You know that, I know that, and it's honestly super frustrating to hear the same tired advice when you're just trying to survive the very real costs of living today.
Seriously, the reason your bank account feels like it's bleeding out by the 15th of the month is not because you lack discipline. It's really not. It's because your brain, like pretty much everyone else's, has been socially programmed to use the completely wrong metric to buy things. So today, in this explainer, we're going to completely rewire how you look at a price tag. And don't worry, this mental model has absolutely nothing to do with restrictive, color-coded spreadsheets.
Okay, let's get into it. For a lot of us young professionals, the absolute biggest trap is this thing called lifestyle creep. You start making a little more money, and boom, suddenly you're spending a little more too. Look, when your life consists of sitting in a cubicle for 9 hours a day, battling a commute, and just feeling generally stressed out, you naturally crave something tangible. Anything, really, just to prove your life isn't only about paying bills. We end up buying these shiny trinkets just to get temporary relief from a totally draining, normal routine.
But here's where we need to flip the script. To do that, we're actually looking back at a 170-year-old paradigm shift from the philosopher Henry David Thoreau. He hit the nail on the head when he pointed out that the true cost of a thing is the amount of life required to be exchanged for it. Think about that. Money isn't just paper. It's not just a digital number floating in your banking app. A dollar is simply a physical representation of literally the only resource you have that is truly finite, your life energy.
And this idea perfectly exposes the core issue. We are completely conditioned to look at price tags purely in terms of dollars. You see something you want, you check your balance, and if the money is there, you're like, sweet, I can afford this. But guys, that is a total illusion. Every single time we swipe that card, we are literally trading hours of our past life that we spent working to earn that money. Or if we're using credit, we're trading away hours of our future life.
Section 1. The real hourly wage and breaking down the math. Let's slow down for a second and look at how this actually works.
Let's imagine you earn a respectable $20 an hour. On paper, sounds okay, right? But you don't actually get to keep $20. Let's visually strip away the taxes you pay. Gone. Now strip away the cost of your commute. Gone. And then take out your absolute basic survival costs, your rent, utilities, and groceries. Once you clear away all those mandatory, non-negotiable expenses, your true keep-it-in-your-pocket disposable wage is likely closer to just $5 an hour. That tiny sliver is the actual money you get to choose how to spend. So let's take that specific math out into the real world. You're out shopping, and you see a really nice jacket. The price tag says $150. Now, if your true keep-it-in-your-pocket wage is just $5 an hour, you aren't paying $150 for that jacket. You are paying 30 hours of your actual life. 30 hours sitting at a desk, answering emails, dealing with your boss, just for a piece of fabric? When you stop buying things with money and start buying them with hours of your literal life, your impulse spending drops to zero almost instantly. Very, very few things are actually worth handing over an entire work week of your existence.
Let's see how this scales across different items and incomes using the time exchange calculator. Say you want a $500 PlayStation. If your real disposable wage is $30 an hour, that's about 17 hours of work. Okay, but if your real discretionary wage is $11 an hour, you are trading 42 hours. That is an entire week of your waking life just gone. Hand it over for a piece of electronics.
Section 2. Escaping the petri dish of social flash.
It is ridiculously easy to get caught in this petri dish of upper-class flash, right? You see your peers buying Range Rovers or casually carrying designer bags. The pressure to keep up is genuinely exhausting. Take this real-world anecdote from a financial consultant out in Dallas. She sat down and calculated her discretionary spending back when she was trapped in this social pressure cooker. She was clocking in around $700 on bars and restaurants, $400 on shopping, and another $350 on personal care. She realized she was flushing nearly $1,500 down the drain every single month. And you know what the worst part was? She wasn't even happy. Escaping this trap requires a really powerful, fundamental shift in your identity. It's about moving toward highly intentional spending. You literally have to start adopting internal affirmations that reject this compulsory consumption. You have to look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am not the type of person who spends hundreds of dollars on clothes I wear once and then stuff in a closet. And even more importantly, I am not the type of person who spends my precious life energy just to impress people.
To make this identity shift stick, I highly recommend a strategy popularized by the classic book, Your Money or Your Life. You need to make your progress visible. Create a prominent wall chart. Plot your total monthly income on one line and your total monthly expenses on another. Then put this chart somewhere you will be forced to look at it every single day. Visual feedback is an incredibly powerful tool for holding yourself accountable and finally breaking that cycle of consumerism.
The formula for taking your life back is actually wonderfully simple, even though it takes focus. Step 1. Lower your living expenses by ignoring the gaze of consumerism and evaluating every single purchase in working hours. Step 2. Work to increase your income. And Step 3. This is the absolute magic part. Aggressively invest the difference between the two.
Because the ultimate goal on that wall chart you just made is reaching what is known as the crossover point. That is the exact, beautiful moment when the line representing your passive investment income crosses and permanently surpasses the line representing your monthly living expenses.
Recognizing and actually reaching this point is how you literally buy your freedom. It completely liberates you from living paycheck to paycheck. It jams a stick into the spokes of that hamster wheel of constantly trying to upgrade your lifestyle. You stop endlessly exchanging your precious, finite life energy for superfluous, meaningless possessions. You are no longer working to buy stuff. You are working to buy back your time.
And I want to be really direct with you here. When you redefine your relationship with money, you completely redefine your relationship with work itself. Work becomes purposeful exertion rather than just a place you go so you don't starve. You can stop selling your soul for a paycheck, and you can start actually valuing all the other vital roles in your life, as a parent, a friend, an artist, an activist. You basically stop making a dime and you start making a living.
So, I'm going to leave you with a final, provocative thought and a little bit of homework. Calculate your real, keep it in your pocket hourly rate. Write that exact number on a sticky note and slap it directly on your debit card. And as you do that, genuinely ask yourself, what would you do if you could reclaim your time? If you could retire early and just do whatever you wanted? Would you learn a new language, start a company, travel the world? Your time is your life. Stop trading it for things you don't even need. Thanks for diving into this explainer with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.